Well, it's been a week now since I ventured on this ball joint replacement project on my 2008 Dodge Ram 6.7 liter. And I kind of got to a point where I was so frustrated on the right side that I stopped making videos. So anyway, I did finish the right side and everything worked great, but I'm just wrapping up this left side now with the remaining portions that I missed. So now the right side's completely done. I don't think that I ever got to the point where I said to take the tie rod off the front. So anyway, you don't want to take them both off at the same time, just FYI. Do one side at a time. And anyway, take the tie rod off and then knock it loose, and then you can continue. One more thing I wanted to mention was don't take your tie rod off until you are ready for your knuckle to spin freely, because if it's on, obviously you're not going to be able to do that. So anyway, okay, so hub assembly is nearly off and I can spin the knuckle because I took the tie rod off. Definitely want to remove your ABS sensor. It's right here. And I'm not sure if you plan on, depending on how many miles you have on your truck. I have 145 on mine, so I'm going to replace these wheel hub assemblies right now as well, and they automatically come with a new ABS sensor, which is really nice. So anyway, do that next. Okay, so here we are again, next progress video. So in just I don't know, 20 minutes, I guess, we're back down to the knuckle, and that's it. But one thing I wanted to show you is the drive axle. It just literally pops out. All you have to do is wedge a screwdriver or something right behind here and just tug on it a little bit with that, and it'll just pop right out. And anyway, this is the shorty because it's on the left side. So here it is. So just wedge your screwdriver in between there and it'll just pop right out. Then when you go to put this back in, you definitely want to grease the splines. Looks like whoever did this last used white lithium grease, and that's fine, but you can also just use regular grease. Okay, here we go. It's time to take the knuckle off. I just wanted to say that the nuts on the bottom, those are 30 millimeter, but if you don't have a 30 millimeter, I'm just using my pipe wrench. It works just fine. And I also, it's small enough that I can use my breaker bar if I need to. One thing else that I wanted to mention is, let's just say you get stuck and you're not sure why this bottom nut's coming off. Well, the reason why is because up inside there is an Allen that you have to put your Allen wrench on as well, otherwise it's never going to come off. So anyway, that's it. So we just talked about sizes for the knuckle bolts or nuts. Anyway, so the bottom is 30 millimeter. The top is actually 15/16. And just like that, I'm done. Literally completely tore down. All I got left is to take the knuckle off and then get those ball joints out. Of course, that's the hardest part. So I got my good friend over here, these pickles. They are a rented tool that I got from AutoZone. And a lot of places have these for rent. So I would recommend going and getting these. Otherwise, you will never get this thing off. Bingo, just like that. You can see that the knuckle is released, and the harder, well, one of the hard parts of the job is done. Also, note that I left this nut on the bottom just slightly so that when the knuckle does release, it doesn't crash on the ground and maybe hit your feet. Alright, on to the next step. Taking the snap ring out of the bottom ball joint. Okay, snap ring is off. It's right there. Got my snap ring pliers right there. So, you can go ahead and box up your pickle kit and put it back in your truck to take back to AutoZone. You're done with that. So I thought I would do a little video on the actual ball joint removal. There's not really a lot of very descriptive videos out there on YouTube, so hopefully this will help you. When you got to remove the top ball joint first, so you have to get this kit. That's an absolute necessary, and you can get this at AutoZone also for rent. Anyway, so the idea is for the top one, you got to force it up out. So you put a solid plate down here on the bottom so that you can wedge it on the bolt and force it up, and then this just covers the center and then it goes over the top. So as I turn this down, this right here, sorry, as I turn this down, it pushes up on the bottom and then it'll force it out. Anyway, all right, so post using the ball joint removal kit, as you can see, I mean, I'm telling you, it literally only took me a few turns and boom, it's already out. See that? Just pop, it'll just pop right out now. So anyway, that's it. On to the bottom. And I'm also going to show you, once I have that the ball joint removal kit, once I have it on there, I'll show you what it looks like so that you can see, so that hopefully you can apply the same method that I'm doing on your truck. Okay, so you can see that I have the ball joint remover on the bottom. And really, I mean, you would never ever do this, any kind of thing on like this to the new one, but we're just taking this off and it's going in the garbage, so I don't care. But you got your receiver that's going around this, and then it's when you push it down, the bolt's actually right here. So this size probably won't work completely, so there's another one in this kit that I may have to switch to finish getting it out. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Here we go. Okay, here's a prime example of what I was talking about, having too small of a receiver. I knew that I was going to have to do it for part of this, and you can see that ball joint's just about out already. It's really only taken me about, I don't know, 30 seconds to get to this point. But now I'm going to have to back it off so I can put that longer one on so I can finish the job. Alright, here we are again. It's literally the same thing, except now I got the bigger receiver on, and I'm just going to crank it away. And like I said, it's almost out already. One thing I made sure is that the nut or the bolt was coming out the bottom. So I think I don't even, oh no, I definitely need the breaker bar. So I'll come back in a couple seconds and we'll see what happens. And bingo, just like that, we're done. Now I'm probably gonna clean it all up, use some brake cleaner on that, and get it ready for the new one. I'll come back in a few minutes. Okay, back to videos. So here we are. You can see that I have pressed the ball joints, the new ones, back in, and I'm ready to put the knuckle on. So I kind of cleaned it up just a little bit, and pressed the dust boot on the bottom, and I'm ready to go. So I'll come back in a minute after that's on. Okay, so here we go. The knuckle is on. I can still move it. It's tight, but I can move it. And you can see that I have my nut on there, the castle nut. And I got the cotter pin in there. And then I got the collared nut on the bottom. And remember what I said about the Allen in the bottom. You gotta put an Allen wrench in the bottom to hold this in place while you tighten that nut so that you can get it tightened properly. So now that this is done, now it's time to grease the Zerk fittings. And on this particular truck, the 2008 Dodge, this Zerk fitting right here is too tall for the drive axle. So thankfully in this pack they put in, oh here it is, they put in a nice little block off nut that I'm gonna put in once I have it fully greased. So anyway, I'll come back after that's done. So some of these grease guns can really be kind of, I don't know, crappy, like mine. So I wasn't sure if I was getting some grease in, but I definitely was, because I started looking at the bottom and I realized that I just about popped the dust boot on the bottom ball joint. Oh well. Okay guys, well, as you saw, I had pretty much everything done. So the only next step that I had to do was to grab my new hub assembly, which I have, as you can see. And I got my dust cover back on, and I went ahead and tightened down all the bolts, so it's ready to go. I got my castle nut on and my cotter key, excuse me. And you can see my new ABS sensor is laying there on the ground, ready to plug in. So I'm just about done. Anyway, so I'll be back shortly. Okay, back again real quick. So for the next step, if you want to make this easy on yourself, just grab a couple of your lug nuts and just put them on the lugs, and then this will hold your brake disc on there. And anyway, now I'm ready to put my brake stuff back on, and so I'm going to do that, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, here we are again. You can see that I got the brake caliper on and the brakes, and I've ran the ABS sensor up and plugged that in. Anyway, it's done, which is a big sigh of relief. All I gotta do is put the tire on, and then I'll come back and show you guys something. A redneck front end alignment, basically. So if it's a Saturday, like today's a Saturday for me, and you can't get in to get a front end alignment right away, then you can do this. I'll be right back.